Throughout history, mythologies from around the world have birthed some of the most terrifying and powerful villains ever imagined. From gods who defied the heavens to monsters who threatened humanity, these are the supervillains of mythology. In the ancient world of Chinese mythology, Chiu stands as one of the most formidable figures, a being whose power and influence were feared across the land. He was not just a warrior, but a symbol of chaos and rebellion, challenging the divine order itself. Chiu was believed to be a descendant of the god of war, embodying the very essence of conflict and strife. His appearance was as terrifying as his reputation, often depicted with the head of a bull and the body of a man, adorned with iron-like skin that no weapon could pierce. His ferocity in battle was unmatched, and his strength was legendary, said to have been capable of wielding weapons no ordinary human could lift. Chiu's might was further magnified by his mastery over the elements. He was particularly known for his ability to summon fog and storms, enveloping his enemies in a shroud of confusion and fear. This command over the weather was a testament to his connection with the earth and the heavens, a power that made him nearly invincible in combat. Chiu led a fearsome army of warriors, said to be made of 81 brothers, each as ruthless and powerful as himself. Together, they ravaged the land, leaving destruction in their wake, challenging the authority of the Yellow Emperor, the divine ruler of the time. The battle between Chiu and the Yellow Emperor is one of the most iconic in Chinese mythology, often seen as a clash between chaos and order, rebellion and authority. Chiu's forces were initially unstoppable, their sheer power overwhelming the emperor's troops. It was said that Chiu unleashed a thick fog during the battle, causing the emperor's soldiers to lose their way and falter. Yet, despite his seemingly insurmountable strength, Chiu was eventually defeated, not by brute force, but through the cleverness and divine support that the Yellow Emperor possessed. The emperor called upon the goddess of drought to dispel the fog, and with the aid of a divine compass, he led his troops to victory. Chiu's defeat marked the end of his reign of terror, but his legacy as the most powerful villain in Chinese mythology endured. In the ancient mythologies of the Qiqi Maya, Vucub Caquix, possibly meaning seven macaw, was a fearsome being, a deity who saw himself as the sun and the moon, radiating an immense and blinding light. His pride and arrogance were as vast as the heavens, and he declared himself the most powerful force in the world, rivaling even the gods. Vucub Caquix's dazzling splendor was not merely a boast but a reality. His teeth and eyes glimmered with such brilliance that they were said to outshine the stars themselves. He ruled over the world with this unmatched radiance, a tyrant of light who believed his power to be unparalleled. Vucub Caquix's dominance in the mythological world was not solely based on his radiant appearance. He wielded immense strength, and his vanity made him believe he was invincible. He was a being who could not be easily subdued, and his influence spread far and wide. The gods themselves were concerned about his growing power and arrogance, for Vucub Caquix's self-proclaimed divinity threatened the cosmic order. He demanded worship from all creatures, asserting that his brilliance was the source of life and that none could rival his magnificence. Yet, it was this very arrogance that led to his downfall. The hero twins, Hunahpu and Balanqui, were sent by the gods to challenge Vucub Caquix's reign. They recognized that his power was deeply tied to his pride, and they devised a clever plan to exploit this weakness. Disguised as humble beings, they attacked him in a way that Vucub Caquix never expected. During a confrontation, they managed to strike him, causing him to lose some of his teeth, the source of his radiant light. With his brilliance dimmed, his power waned, and the hero twins used this moment of vulnerability to strip him of his false divinity. Vucub Caquix's story is one of hubris and the limits of self-proclaimed power. Though he once ruled with an aura of invincibility, his fall was swift when confronted by true divine will. His defeat was not just a loss of physical power, but a shattering of his identity. Without his blinding light, he was no longer the mighty ruler he once was, and his downfall served as a reminder that even the greatest of beings could be brought low by their own pride. In the shadowy depths of Slavic mythology, Koschei the Deathless stands as a figure of immense dread and unparalleled power. Unlike other villains who rely on brute strength or cunning alone, Koschei's strength is rooted in his very essence, his immortality. This fearsome sorcerer, whose name itself hints at his nature, Koschei deriving from the word for bone, cannot be slain by conventional means. His life is bound in a way that defies death, for his soul is hidden away in a mystical, unreachable place, rendering him immune to the ravages of time and the weapons of men. This invulnerability makes him a figure of terror, for how can one hope to defeat a being who cannot die? Koschei's immortality is not merely a simple enchantment but a complex and cunning safeguard. His soul is concealed within a needle which is hidden inside an egg. This egg, in turn, is located in a duck, the duck within a hare, the hare in an iron chest, and the chest buried beneath the roots of a great oak tree on the mystical island of Buyen. To find and destroy Koschei, one must first undertake the impossible task of uncovering and breaking this chain of protections. Only then can the needle be broken, and with it, Koschei's life force. This intricate layering of defenses showcases the depth of Koschei's power and his understanding of the fragility of life, even for one who claims to be deathless. In the tales, Koschei is often portrayed as an antagonist, kidnapping the wives or brides of noble heroes, not out of simple malice, but as a means to assert his dominance and control. His magic is potent, allowing him to bend others to his will and weave spells of immense power. Yet, it is his unyielding nature, his refusal to be bound by the same mortal constraints as others, that truly sets him apart. He is a figure who embodies the fear of death and the desire to escape it, no matter the cost. His very existence challenges the natural order, a being who lives beyond life and death, creating a sense of unease and foreboding wherever he treads. Despite his might, Koschei the Deathless is not invincible. His reliance on the protection of his soul, hidden so far from his physical form, also serves as his greatest vulnerability. The heroes who seek to defeat him, driven by love or revenge, must embark on treacherous journeys, facing not just physical challenges, but the very essence of fear and mortality itself. In the end, Koschei's story is a reminder of the limits of power and the lengths to which one might go to cling to life, even as it slips further from one's grasp. If you enjoy this type of content, consider subscribing. It's free and you can unsubscribe later. In the ancient tales of Japan, there exists a creature so fearsome that its name alone would send shivers down the spines of even the bravest warriors. Yamata no Orochi, the eight-headed and eight-tailed serpent, was a monster born from chaos and terror. Towering over the tallest trees, its body stretched across valleys and rivers. Each of its heads could unleash a different form of destruction. Venom, fire, wind, water, earth, darkness, light, and death itself, making Orochi a force beyond comprehension, a living nightmare that could raze entire lands. Orochi was not merely a mindless beast, but a malevolent entity with a deep, insatiable hunger for power and destruction. It terrorized the province of Izumo, demanding a yearly sacrifice of a young maiden to quench its thirst for blood. The people, paralyzed by fear, had no choice but to obey, knowing that resistance would only bring more devastation. Orochi's power was so immense that even the gods themselves hesitated to intervene, knowing that to face the serpent was to face death itself. Legends say that the serpent's origins were tied to the ancient rivers and mountains, embodying the raw, untamed forces of nature. Yamata no Orochi was an embodiment of chaos, a creature that thrived on destruction, and its presence alone could twist the very fabric of reality. The skies would darken, storms would rage, and the earth would tremble whenever it stirred, as if the world itself was bowing to its might. No warrior or weapon had ever come close to defeating Orochi, and many believed that none ever could. It was only through the intervention of the storm god Susanoo that Orochi met its end. Yet even this victory was not a simple feat of strength. Susanoo had to rely on cunning and divine power, intoxicating the serpent with sake and striking it down while it was in a stupor. But even in death, Orochi's might was undeniable, for within its tail, the legendary sword Kusanagi was found, a blade forged from the heart of the serpent's power. Yamata no Orochi remains one of the most powerful and terrifying figures in Japanese mythology, a symbol of the dark forces that lurk just beyond the edge of the known world. In the ancient mythological tapestry of Egypt, Seth stands as a figure of immense power and complexity, embodying chaos and darkness. His strength was not just physical but metaphysical, extending beyond mere mortal comprehension. Born from the union of the sky goddess Nut and the earth god Geb, Seth was destined to wield powers that challenged the very order of the cosmos. His dominion was over the desert, a barren and inhospitable landscape that mirrored his tumultuous nature. As the god of storms, violence, and disorder, Seth's fury was like a tempest, unpredictable and devastating, capable of laying waste to both natural and divine realms. Seth's most infamous act of power was his betrayal and murder of his brother, Osiris, the beloved god of the afterlife. Driven by jealousy and a desire for dominance, Seth crafted a sinister plan to eliminate Osiris. He tricked Osiris into lying in a beautifully crafted chest, which he then sealed and cast into the Nile. This act of treachery was not just a fratricide but a cosmic upheaval, as Osiris represented life, fertility, and order. By killing Osiris, Seth sought to usurp these qualities and plunge the world into chaos, showcasing his fearsome might and his willingness to defy even the most sacred bonds. Despite his malevolent actions, Seth's power was undeniable and even necessary. He was a protector of Ra, the sun god, during his nightly journey through the underworld. Every night, Seth would battle the serpent Apophis, a monstrous embodiment of chaos and evil that sought to devour the sun and end the cycle of day and night. In these battles, Seth's strength and ferocity were indispensable. His power was paradoxical, destructive and protective, feared and revered. However, Seth's unbridled ambition and raw power made him a figure of fear and hatred among the gods. His reign was marked by tyranny and violence, as he sought to establish himself as the supreme deity. His defeat at the hands of Horus, the avenger of Osiris, marked the end of his reign but not his power. Though Horus claimed the throne, Seth's influence endured, a reminder of the ever-present forces of chaos and disorder that lurked beneath the surface of the world. In the ancient world of Norse mythology, Loki stands as one of the most enigmatic and powerful figures. Born of the giant Farbati and the goddess Laufey, Loki's very essence was a blend of chaos and cunning. He was neither fully a god nor a giant, but something in between, a being who could move between worlds with ease, a master of shape-shifting and deception. Unlike the other gods, Loki's power lay not in brute strength, but in his sharp intellect and ability to manipulate the forces around him. He was a trickster, a title that belied the true extent of his power and influence in the mythological world. Loki's cunning made him both an invaluable ally and a formidable foe to the gods of Asgard. His ability to weave intricate plots and schemes was unmatched, often bringing the gods to the brink of disaster only to pull them back at the last moment. However, Loki's role as a villain is most clearly seen in his involvement in the death of the beloved god Balder. Through a mixture of jealousy and malice, Loki orchestrated Balder's death by deceiving the blind god Hoder into killing Balder with a mistletoe-tipped spear. This act of treachery marked a turning point, revealing the true depth of Loki's capacity for evil. As the gods realized Loki's malevolence, his descent into villainy became irreversible. Bound by his own ambitions and resentments, Loki's actions grew increasingly destructive. His ultimate betrayal came during Ragnarok, the prophesied end of the world, where Loki fought against the gods he once called kin. He allied himself with the giants and led them into battle, his power and malice fully unleashed. It was here that Loki's true strength was revealed, not just in his physical prowess, but in his ability to inspire chaos and destruction on a cosmic scale. Loki's power as a villain was not merely in his actions, but in the fear and uncertainty he sowed among the gods and mortals alike. He was a force of chaos, unpredictable and dangerous, capable of undermining the very foundations of the world. In Loki, the Norse myths encapsulate the terrifying potential of unchecked ambition and the dark side of intelligence, making him a villain of unparalleled power and influence. In the shadowed realms of Irish mythology, the Morrigan stands as a figure of immense power and dread, a complex deity embodying war, fate, and death. She is often depicted as a shapeshifter, capable of taking the form of a crow, raven, or an ominous mist that drifts over battlefields. As one of the Tuatha Dé Danann, a supernatural race of deities, she holds sway over the forces of life and death, her influence woven into the very fabric of existence. Unlike many gods who offer protection or guidance, the Morrigan thrives in chaos, her presence a harbinger of doom for those who cross her path. Her power is most vividly displayed in the epic tales of the Ulster Cycle, where she relentlessly pursues and torments the hero Cuchulainn. The Morrigan's enmity toward him is fierce and unyielding, rooted in his refusal to accept her love when she approached him disguised as a beautiful maiden. Spurned, she reveals her true nature and swears to destroy him, using her formidable abilities to curse, deceive, and manipulate. She transforms into a variety of creatures: a heifer, an eel, and a wolf, each time seeking to ensnare him in death's embrace. Yet, even as Cuchulainn overcomes her every attempt, it is the Morrigan who ultimately presides over his tragic end, a testament to her inexorable power. The Morrigan's dominion is not limited to physical transformation or personal vendettas. She is the embodiment of war itself. Before battles, she is known to appear to warriors, foretelling their doom with cryptic prophecies or washing their armor in a river, an omen of their impending death. Her voice carries the weight of fate, and her words are inescapable. The fear she instills is not just of death but of the annihilation of one's very essence, as she decides who will fall and who will survive. Her influence extends beyond the battlefield, shaping the destinies of entire tribes and kingdoms, her wrath capable of toppling even the mightiest of rulers. Yet, the Morrigan is not merely a villain. She is a force of nature, an embodiment of the inevitable. In her, the ancient Celts recognized the dark side of existence, the chaos, destruction, and death that are as much a part of life as creation and growth. She is feared and respected in equal measure, for she is a reminder that no one, not even the greatest of heroes, can escape their fate. The Morrigan's power lies in this truth, making her one of the most formidable and terrifying figures in all of mythology. In the ancient pantheon of the Aztecs, Tezcatlipoca loomed as one of the most formidable and enigmatic deities. Known as the Smoking Mirror, he was a god of darkness, deception, and chaos, wielding power that made even the bravest of warriors tremble. Tezcatlipoca's influence extended over the night sky, sorcery, and fate itself, making him a deity both feared and revered. He was a master of transformation, capable of shifting his shape at will, often appearing as a jaguar, a symbol of his fearsome nature. His presence was pervasive, his power unmatched, and his cunning intellect made him a constant force of instability in the mythological world. Tezcatlipoca's reputation as a villain is deeply rooted in his rivalry with Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. In one of the most famous myths, Tezcatlipoca tricked Quetzalcoatl into a shameful act of intoxication, leading to the latter's exile and downfall. This act of treachery highlighted Tezcatlipoca's cunning, as he used his intellect and deception to overpower even the mightiest of gods. His ability to manipulate events and bend the will of others to his own desires made him a feared adversary. In the eyes of the Aztecs, Tezcatlipoca was the embodiment of the unpredictable and malevolent forces of the universe, a god who thrived on chaos and destruction. Beyond his rivalry with Quetzalcoatl, Tezcatlipoca was also a god who tested the mortals of the world. He would appear in disguise, often as a commoner or a beggar, to challenge the moral fiber of humans. Those who failed his tests were met with swift and terrible consequences. His presence was a reminder of the fragility of human existence, and that at any moment, the god of darkness could descend upon them with ruinous intent. The Aztecs believed that Tezcatlipoca held the fate of the world in his hands, and his whims could bring about famine, war, or even the end of the current age. In the ancient epic of the Ramayana, Ravana is portrayed as one of the most formidable villains in the mythological world. Born to the sage Vishrava and the demon princess Kaikisi, Ravana was a Rakshasa king who ruled over the golden city of Lanka. His power was unparalleled, both in terms of physical strength and his mastery over various forms of magic and divine knowledge. He was an exceptional scholar, having acquired knowledge of the Vedas and the Shastras, and was a devout follower of Lord Shiva. Through intense penance, Ravana earned a boon from Shiva, granting him near invincibility and making him a terror to both gods and mortals alike. Ravana's prowess extended beyond mere brute strength. He was a master strategist and a cunning ruler. His empire was vast, and his armies, consisting of fierce Rakshasas, were feared across the three worlds: Earth, Heaven, and the Netherworld. Ravana possessed the strength of 10 men, symbolized by his 10 heads and 20 arms, each of which could wield weapons with deadly precision. His ability to control and summon natural elements, combined with his knowledge of powerful mantras and spells, made him a formidable opponent even for the gods. One of Ravana's most significant displays of power was his conquest of the heavens. He defeated the powerful king of the gods, Indra, and took control of his celestial chariot, a flying vehicle that could travel anywhere at his command. This victory established Ravana as the supreme ruler of the three worlds, and his reign was marked by both prosperity and tyranny. He was known for his invincibility in battle, having bested many of the greatest warriors and kings of his time, including the vanquishing of Yama, the god of death, which further cemented his reputation as an unstoppable force. However, Ravana's power was also his greatest downfall. His arrogance and desire for domination led him to abduct Sita, the wife of Lord Rama, which set in motion the events that would ultimately lead to his demise. The final battle between Rama and Ravana was a clash of titans, with Ravana displaying all his strength and magical abilities. Yet, in the end, it was Rama's righteousness and the blessings of the gods that led to Ravana's defeat, marking the end of the reign of one of the most powerful villains in the mythological world. In the shadowed corners of ancient Greece, whispers spoke of a monstrous force, a creature born from the deepest chaos. Typhon, the son of Gaia and Tartarus, was unlike any other being the world had ever seen. Towering above the highest mountains, his form was a terrifying amalgamation of serpents and beasts. His head reached the stars, crowned with 100 dragon heads, each breathing fire and venom. His eyes burned with a fury that could turn even the bravest warriors to stone, and his voice was a cacophony of roars, hisses, and the howling winds of 1,000 storms. Typhon's power was unmatched, a living embodiment of chaos and destruction. When he moved, the earth quaked and mountains crumbled beneath his feet. The seas boiled with his fury, and the skies darkened with his wrath. His wings, vast and black, could blot out the sun, plunging the world into an eternal night. No god or mortal could withstand his might. Even Zeus, the king of the gods, trembled at the mere thought of facing him. Typhon's strength was so immense that he sought to overthrow Olympus itself, to tear down the heavens and reign supreme over the cosmos. The battle between Typhon and the gods was a clash of titans, a war that shook the very foundations of the universe. Zeus, armed with his lightning bolts, faced Typhon in a desperate struggle to save the world from annihilation. But even the mighty Zeus found himself overpowered by the relentless onslaught of Typhon. The monster captured Zeus, tearing away his sinews and hiding them away, rendering the king of the gods powerless. With Zeus defeated, it seemed that Typhon would succeed in his quest to destroy the divine order and plunge the world into chaos. Yet, in the end, it was not brute strength but cunning that led to Typhon's downfall. Zeus, with the help of Hermes and Pan, managed to retrieve his sinews and regain his power. Rejuvenated, he unleashed the full force of his thunderbolts upon Typhon, striking with a fury that shook the heavens. The battle raged on, but Typhon, despite his unmatched strength, was eventually driven back and buried beneath Mount Etna. There, he remains, his rage causing the mountain to spew fire and smoke to this day, a reminder of the terrible power that once threatened the gods themselves. For deeper insights into these mythical beings, click on the video to your left. And for more captivating mythology content, check out the video to your right. If you found this video enjoyable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for future uploads.